Hi, my name is Stephanie Vaca, and in today's Nested and Sentinel Loop Lab, my partner Matthew Eskridge and I created a code that would use a nested loop, and a nested loop is a loop that is inside of another loop. For example, we used 4 loops to use as ranges in our loop lab. So a nested loop is another loop that is inside of a loop. And in this lab, my partner and I thought that a clock would resemble what we were being asked to do. So the output for our code, we created a code using 4 hours in range of 24. So since there are 24 hours in a day, 24 would be our range. However, in a range, the number that you insert will not be included. So it'll go from 0 to 23, because when you think of the relevance of a clock, we are not given military time. We are not given the number 24. It starts back at 0. And we move on for minutes in range. There are 60 minutes in an hour. So here we used 4 minutes in range of 60. So that will give us our range up to 60. So as long as these things are true, the code will be running. However, if they are not, the code will not run and will stop. And since we inserted the number 60, usually when we are giving clock time, it does not reach 60. It starts off at 0 once again. So then we continued on 4 seconds in range 60. So there are 60 seconds within a minute. So we are creating another range, another loop. Meanwhile, everything is true. This will correspond and continue to run the code. And since we inserted the number 60, that will not be included, because referring back to clock time, we often do not see the 60. We go from 59 and back to 00. So this will end at 59. And then we continue on by creating print hours, comma, parentheses, and in quotation marks, but inside the quotation marks we have colons, because my partner and I thought it would be a great idea to use it as if it were a clock. So we inserted the colons to make it look like a clock, and since there are quotation marks around it, that is what is going to be printed itself. So we will actually see in the output 2 visible colons. However, since we don't have quotation marks around hours, minutes, and seconds, hours and minutes and seconds were defined in the previous 4 loops, and it'll just print out the ranges. So the output would look something like what is pictured in the images. 0, 14, and 50 would represent 0 hours, 14 minutes, and 50 seconds. So it goes hours, minutes, and seconds. Same towards the end, we see 23, 59, and 59. So 23 hours would be where it stopped, because remember, again, back in military time, we do not see the number 24. We go back to 0. And then we end at 59 because we don't go to 60. We start back at 0. Same thing with the seconds. Ends at 59, goes back to 0. However, when referring to a function, we define the code as a function by putting define my underscore function and then parentheses and then a colon. So we would print the hours, and then quotation marks and a colon, minutes, comma, quotation marks, colon inside, comma, seconds. And by doing so, we would then use the loop to define the hours, minutes, and seconds. So as long as all of these statements are true, you will print my function. So the function will be referred to as the print hours, minutes, and seconds in the format we had chosen. And the output would demonstrate very similarly to what was previously mentioned above. 23, 59, and 59 is where this loop will end because it cannot go past the range it was asked in the code.